All right, good morning, everybody, and thank you all for joining us for this month's From the Field Farm Chat with Idaho Wheat. We are excited to be joined by Dr. John Lee Chen and from the Aberdeen Research and Extension Center, and also Kathy Wilson. Excited to talk with them about some wheat varieties that they have been working on and developing. And we wanted to kind of talk about the progress of those wheat varieties, talk about how growers can access those seed varieties, and also talk a little bit about spring seeding. So John Lee and Kathy, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks. Idaho Commission organized this meeting, and this is a good opportunity and a time to talk about the two recently released spring wheat cultivars and for growers to plant this spring. And the two cultivars I'm going to talk about today, the first one is called UI Gold Hard White Spring Wheat. We released in 2022. In 2023, we licensed UI Gold to two seed companies, and one is Riri Green, another is Author Companies. And this is a hard white spring wheat. The objective release this cultivar, we want to release a hard white spring wheat cultivar that have high yield and very good bread baking quality that can replace UI Platinum and DIN in the production. So this cultivar actually have these characteristics, can replace these two DIN and UI Platinum. And last year in the registered field, UI Gold produced 140 bushels per acre in the seeds accompanying field. And in state variety trial, UI Gold produced the yield ranging from 115 bushels per acre to 135 bushels per acre under irrigation over the 4 years. And this cultivar also in the Greencraft preferred quality list for growers to choose this variety to grow. UI Gold also under Variety Protection Law, Title 5, that means growers can only buy certified seeds to plant in their farm. There's no planting bag allowed for this protected cultivar. And currently, UI Gold have the registered seeds and also limited amount of seeds for growers to plant this spring. And if any growers has specific questions on the UI Gold licensing, and Cassie will answer this question. And the next one we are going to talk about today is called UI Cookie South White Spring Wheat. UI Cookie was released in 2020 and licensed to Idaho Wheat Commission in 2021. And we start to have seed sales in 2021. And we have several seed handlers available, and Cassie Wilson will talk about if any growers have that question. So UI Cookie was developed in the objective, and this soft white spring wheat overcome the UI Stone. UI Stone has problem for threshing on the thresher, and UI Cookie improved that traits, has no problem for threshing ability. And also UI Cookie has high yield and excellent end use quality, and adult plant resistance to striped rust, and tolerance to physarum head blight and Hessian fly. I think UI cookie is protected under variety under seed production law, but has no Title V. That means growers can buy certified seeds and they can plant back for 2 to 3 years. For the details about the licensing of the UI cookie, Cassie Wilson can answer more about that question. I think
Jen Lee, I have a question on UI Gold, if we can go back and also just remind everybody on this call that if you have a question, feel free to ask. You can use the reactions at the bottom to raise your hand. You can just unmute your microphone. We'll see it that way. But please ask your questions. My question on UI Gold, can you just repeat who is licensing that and when it's available?
Authors Company and Ryrie Green are the two non-exclusive licensing, and they said they have some seeds available for growers to plant, and they can contact with these two companies. Yeah. Okay. Cassie can talk.
So there are two. Last year, when we first came out with UI Gold, it is a non-exclusive license, and so we have trying to get here. So we have the two companies, the Arthur companies out of Blackfoot and Ryrie Grain and Feed Cooperative out of Ryrie, that both have registered seed, and they are, at least Ryrie, I know, is going to downgrade some of that to certified seed, so it's not a lot that's available to growers this year for the 2024 crop. But if a grower is interested, I recommend that they contact Ryrie Grain or the Arthur companies and express their interest and see what the possibilities are for this year. Next year, there will be plenty of certified seed at that time. We also, it's a non-exclusive license, so we expect that other seed companies will be coming forward in 2024 to submit application for a license for UI Gold as well. So it'll be pretty widely available within a couple of years.
Okay, thank you.
So Kathy and John Lee, I wanted to clarify one thing, because you said Title V means you can't plant back seed. That's not correct. What Title V means is you cannot sell anything but certified seed, but a grower can save seed to plant back on his own farm. He cannot sell it to anyone, but he can save seed on his own farm. So be real careful on what Title V really means.
Yes, Jim, that's a really good point. And it's a subtle point that growers like to overlook, but it is in the PVP patent and law. You can plant back, but you can't save and plant back any more seed than you bought in the first place. And you can't sell that to your neighbors. You can't expand your production. You can't increase the volume of seed that you have.
No, you can increase it, but it has to be only for your own farm. There's a reasonable limit of what you can do, but you can't. If you buy 100 bushel, you can't only save 100 bushel to put back. It's more than that.
Okay, thanks for correction.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
So, Charlene and Kathy, you want to talk about kind of what the pipeline looks like, what you're excited about coming out next? What might be some of the variety trials coming through?
Okay, so yeah, we do have one new soft white spring wheat. We don't have name yet. That is in the processing release, and we will know for sure in first week of February. That is called 1902. That soft white spring wheat was developed on the purpose to replace Westbred 6430. And this line, we have foundation seeds, smaller amount of foundation seeds available for the licensing to plant resin seeds this spring. And this line have high green yield and excellent end use quality and HTP resistance to dry frost. And this line also has a broader adaptation compared to UI cookie. And for example, in the high elevation like Ashton Prairie area, 1902 produced consistent yield compared to Westbred 6430. And we are hoping, and also 1902 in the past 3 years, it's yielded top 3 to top 5 in the southeast Idaho under irrigated conduction. In the release document, if any of you see it, in Washington in 2023 under irrigation, it's also on the top yielding. And in Oregon State Variety Trial in 2022 and 2023, that is the #1. And in Oregon State Variety Trial, they don't have Westbred 6430. They use the Rhine, UI Stone, UI Cookie as check cultivars compared to 1902. So 1902 is the #1 yielding in Oregon State Variety Trial. In Juliet Marshall's Southeast Idaho trial, and in some location, 1902 is higher than Westbred 6430. In some other locations, it's very close, not statistically significant low. So in average, and these two are very compatible. But 1902 has very distinctive traits. It's high test weight under all environments, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and a high test weight under irrigated and dry land. This is a unique traits UI cookie and Westbred 30 doesn't have consistent high test weights.
So in addition to test weights, John Lee, I mean, protein content, average for soft white springs, or a little lower?
UI cookie, no, Ideal 1902 has low protein that is required for soft white spring wheat. I just see the P&W book. We submitted the sample, and 1902 has largest cooker diameters in the soft wheat panel. And this cookie and its quality, 1902 inherited from US Stone. And US Stone we used as a check in P&W this year. And the cookie diameters, 1902 is better.
Okay. And you look at 1902, both irrigated and dryland production, or do you see one strength over the other?
Both.
Okay. Okay.
On the dryland, I see July's trial. There is no statistically significant difference. Some numbers higher, lower, but I think 60 bushels on the dryland in southeast Idaho, and up to 95 dryland in Washington. That's provided in the variety release document.
So what's next on the list after 1902? Anything you want to comment on there?
Do you want to know newer in the pipeline?
Well, I was interested to see that you had a number of winter wheats in regional and state variety trials now this year.
Oh, okay. Winter wheat, I selected 3 advanced line last fall planted in West Regional that are still in the A number. One is hard red with the background of Northwest 553. And I select one hard red winter, one soft white winter, and one hard white winter. So those three lines performed pretty good in my breeding trial. I submitted to West Regional last fall.
Good. Are those going to be starting on the seed increase this coming year, or have you have some seed increase already?
We planted the border seed increase to show at the field day this summer. And if we haven't do the breeder seeds yet, we could pick the breeder heads this summer in the field if they continue doing good this summer.
With that 553 background, I assume these are more for irrigated production?
I think three of them, both for irrigated and dry land. So in my breeding program, since I started, I try to reduce the height and I select the lines that can perform in both production. And I didn't really keep the ones with very tall plant height just for dry land. So like UI Bronze Jet, the intermediate height that under irrigated, they have minimum lodging and select strong, and then they can produce high potential of yield on the irrigation, then they can produce a stable yield on the dry land. This is my philosophy.
Jinli, what about, it's a spring variety, but we were just talking about 2105S coming up, and that is a hard red spring.
Okay, yeah, thanks for your reminding. And the another lines, so 1902, we have foundation seeds available for licensing plant resin seeds this spring. And we have another hard red spring wheat. It's called Idaho 2105. And this is a sister line of UI Gold. It showed #1 yield in Idaho Falls in 2020, and then continued produce good yield following 2022 and 2023. And this spring, I'm going to promoting this hard red spring wheat line, and we will do the breeder seeds to release this one. And I think the reason is that, and I have released several soft white spring, several hard white spring, and I want to see if 2105 hard red spring can be released to replace Jefferson in the production. And this line also, because the industry changed for their priorities, and widespread closed their soft white spring wheat program. And also companies, they started a new breeding program, and they are interested working with me to license any new lines. So authors company, the new breeder has already contacted me. They want to test my new lines that has potential they can license. So this 2105, I wanted to put in this direction. And in 1902, we have already found a licensing partner, and we will let that company to do exclusive license. So 2105, and other companies has interest to test it. Whether we are going to do exclusive or non-exclusive, we don't have to decide right now, but this company, they are interested already. And also UI Gold and 2105 in the pedigree, one parental lines that's called Grading from North Dakota. And authors company, they are located in the headquarters located in North Dakota. I'm interested let them to test in North Dakota as well to see if UI Gold and 2105 has potential adapted there as well.
So, John Lee, does 2105 have Hessian fly resistance?
We are going to test this spring.
Oh, you don't know yet. Okay.
And you
So-
said that 2105 is a sister line to UI Gold?
Yes.
Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Because parents between hard red spring with hard white spring, the progeny should have segregating in seed color. So we promoted, we advanced the UI Gold earlier than 2105. Then UI Gold is a hard white spring, 2105 is hard red spring.
So if I could just go back to something that Jim, you mentioned is wondering about the soft white spring program. There has been quite a shift in southern Idaho and from the big seed companies that they are backing away from doing spring wheat. And I think that has been also seen in Washington and Oregon. And it makes a wonderful opportunity for Jen Lee because she is now bringing forward some of the best material I have ever seen out of her program. So it's very exciting to have an opportunity for her to use the University of Idaho's varieties to fill in this gap. And because the larger companies don't want to do the breeding work, and it makes sense, it's about acres, they are very interested in looking at her material. So I think that the opportunity exists for release of some very good Idaho developed material, and we will find good licensing partners. So I think the growers are going to start seeing Idaho varieties again on the acres, and they will have them available from those who produce, that they buy their seed from and are producing seed. That's exciting.
That sounds great. So tell me, we're going to run out of time here shortly, but I'd also like to know a little bit about some of the traits you're working on right now in the program. And when you go to the field, what gets you excited? What's coming through the program that you can get excited about for the next years?
Okay, good question. And that's related to what you asked, the pipeline. So UI Gold, so now the new traits I'm really excited, that is a new Hessian fly resistant gene. And because this under confidential, I collaborated with USD scientists, so I have access to their new traits. Then I made a cross with UI Gold 1902 and 2105, and also with the FHB resistant line. So this new Hessian fly gene, the collaborator cloned this gene. They found this gene has pleiotropic effects to increase yield and also have the tolerance to one of the stress-related traits. And so I started making crosses 3 years ago. So in 3 years, I will have the new version of UI Gold, a new version of UI Platinum, a new version of 1902 by adding the new Hessian fly genes. This is the most excited for my program. And for this new Hessian fly gene, I also make a cross between the donor line with the UI bronze jet and 2 soft white winter wheat. And UI bronze jet has high yield and quality is acceptable. But if I add to the Hessian fly resistant gene, then that can be produced in the Washington area. And the soft white winter wheat, one called 1708, that has very good quality strap resistance. That is better than SY Ovation, but the yield not high enough to compete other variety. So I introduced this Hasenfly gene into 1708 background. So based on their claim of this gene has pleiotropic effect, then I'm hoping I have a new version of 1708, increase the yield, maintain the quality, but has Hasenfly resistance. And the reason I said in 3 years, because I have winter wheat in the first year observation trial, and spring wheat the first year non-replicated observation trial. So if I see they are doing good in the yield this summer, I can speed up the seeds increase. And we have molecular marker to track this gene, so we can speed up.
Who's your collaborator on that? I mentioned you mentioned the name.
This is Stephen Xu.
Okay,
And
so it's a public program. Will that gene be made available to other breeding programs then?
Not right now. He will have the gene cloning paper to be published this year, and they probably applied the patent through USDA.
You think they'll patent that particular gene?
Yeah. So the after the gene cloning paper published this year, I and him, we will jointly publish another paper how to use this gene in the breeding. And I don't know what kind of the protection they have applied through the inside of USD, but this is something he will update later.
It's possible that to commercialize one of these varieties that Jen Lee's been talking about that carry this gene, we may be paying a royalty, or maybe they'll just make it available royalty free because it's a USDA program. It's hard to say at this point, but it's kind of like what has been done with the herbicide resistant genes as well. When we start using traits that have been developed by other organizations, then there is a way to go ahead and still be able to market and commercialize those varieties.
Sure.
Another
I just assume this is a naturally occurring gene, or is it introduced from a wheat relative?
Yeah, this is from wild relatives,
okay.
And they use the PH gene induced homologous pairing, and they got, because Steve Xu, he is an expert on the cytogeneticist, and so he got a very small piece of the wild species, and yeah, this gene is interesting. It will be a break news after the paper published.
Well, I certainly hope for all the money we put into USDA that they make that freely available to other breeding programs.
I will tell Steve Xu. I think
Yeah.
USD usually they will be public, and he has already shared with the collaborators,
okay.
like me, and like they have the near arsenic line. I helped them did the yield trial that showed the yield increase.
Well, that's exciting, Jean Lee. I mean, I think that's going to be a great advance for your program, and I'm glad to see you're already 3 years into introgressions with that. That's exciting. Other traits or anything others you'd like to mention while we have a few minutes yet?
Yes, I have 2 additional traits. I'm also excited. The second trait is the resin starch. And this resin starch, I selected 30 homozygous line using molecular markers that have ABD genome for the resin starch. And so Jim, we have talked about, these traits. But I'm happy I see the lines that come out with my hypothesis, because first released by George Dubovsky, and that has a yield drag and test rate reduction. So from my perspective, I introduced these traits in diverse background I want to see in some background, I can select the yield penalty and test weight penalty less. Then growers can use this. So I have dual purpose of these traits. So I see in the 30 lines, I see I have a few of them has good test weight and good yield, but 3 homozygous gene in the 3 genome. And the one thing I don't know about until I found a service lab to test how high the resin starch will be in this line. But based on the molecular marker selection and agronomic selection, I see in these 30 lines, high test weight and good yield. And the background is stripe resistance and also good energy quality in soft white, hard white, and hard red. I have 3 background, different marker classes. The number 3 traits I'm happy about the FHB. So FHB, I run the disease nursery 2 years ago, and I stopped running this nursery because I have short of the technician, but I use molecular markers. Now I have soft white background, hard white background in the FHB1 gene integrated. And the yield not high enough to release, but in the pipeline, I have the high yield FHB1 gene at least. I have early generations. I pyramided FHB1 with FHB7. And this is number 3 traits. Number 4 traits, actually, I introduced the sulfide resistance in the very early generation. And Steve Xu also sent me some solid stem germplasm. I will plant this spring. So I have very close collaboration with Steve Xu, and he has, different new traits. Once available, I will be able to use. Like stem rust, I gave him my best varieties, and he used the new genes to do backcrossing, and he sent the early generations. I will do selection testing in the field. The one really, really new traits, he just called me Monday night. So that is a salt tolerance. And he will make a cross for me. Then we will do joint development. Yeah, that I think this is all.
Well, that's great, Jean-Lee. I mean, you have a lot of things underway, a lot of new traits coming on. You will not be able to retire for at least 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Breeders don't retire very well anyway, as you know. But anyway, that's exciting to hear. And I'll turn it back to others for questions, back to Ryan, and thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jean-Lee and Kathy, thank you so much for that information. Thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of the Idaho wheat industry and Idaho wheat growers. It was great to get that information and to get those updates out there. Also, thank you all for joining us today for From the Field. A recording of this will be available later on our social media platforms as well as our YouTube channel. So look for that to come out soon. And then also more information will be provided as well for our upcoming From the Fields in February. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. We will see you next time.
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
I think I would like to acknowledge Cassie Wilson's contribution to marketing the lines varieties from my program. That is a big success, and growers and seed dealers can contact Cassie Wilson to learn my program and learn my variety.
Got it. Thanks, Jean-Lee. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for organizing this Zoom meeting.
Yep.